This charge into battle opening is really amusing and fun to me. Visually, it's the perfect middle ground between objectively terrible and impressive for a small creator that you want out of early YouTube. And thematically, it's perfect. Obviously, it was probably inspired by Napoleon Bonaparte, having famously led from horseback and utilizing cavalry charges heavily in his military strategies. But I appreciate they went the extra mile and had Napoleon Dynamite steed be a liger, since the lion-tiger hybrid is the character's favorite animal after all.
Gosh, I can't believe how much of a little bitch you are.
You gotta include the gosh in there. And I just want to say, before I really begin the scoring, I need to express some sympathy towards Nice Peter on this one. Doing a Napoleon Dynamite impression was probably already a bit passé by 2011, since the movie was from like 2004, and it was really more the mid to late 2000s when quoting it and referencing it was kind of at the height of its popularity. On top of that, it's kind of a hard one to pull off in this comedy rap setting without feeling cringe, since in a way, it's basically a parody of a parody. You know, a joke on a joke, a hat on a hat. But Nice Peter fully commits and comes out with what I'd consider something pretty solid, and that feels as minimally dated and tonally awkward as possible. So good job, a huge congrats to him.
When it comes to world leaders, you like literally lowered the bar.
Listen, obviously the Napoleonic short jokes have been beaten so far into the ground they've hit the Earth's core. So you're not going to manage a three-pointer from me with that low-hanging fruit. But this is still a pretty funny one, and the delivery is good, so I'm feeling a point.
I'll rip your bolt apart, Bonaparte.
Puns. Great. My favorite. Well, it's not that bad, I guess. But no way is it getting a point out of me.
Turn your horse into glue. Welcome to the Battle of Waterloo Part 2.
Love that little fist pump thing here. Great touch. As far as the line, it's all the standard I'm gonna beat you stuff, but with a reference to Bonaparte's final defeat in the Battle of Waterloo, famously chronicled in great detail in the ABBA song of the same name. It's all pretty fine, and I'm on the fence for the point, but just for that fist pump, why the heck not?
I got skills. I'll put you in a half Horatio Nelson.
A half Nelson is a wrestling move. You've probably seen it in some sort of context. Horatio Nelson is the British admiral who defeated Bonaparte's naval fleet at the Battle of Gibraltar. Slapping them together for this pun though, I don't know. It feels kind of messy, kind of dumb, and it doesn't really make sense since Napoleon Dynamite isn't a fighter, unless you count that one Rex Kwon Do class. But a character trait of his is how braggadocious he can be. I'm pretty torn, but at the end of the day, I'm going to do a negative point. My gut just doesn't like the line, it doesn't really gel together and doesn't quite make sense, and even if I can't fully justify it in words, I just take issue with it.
You're the ugliest thing that's ever failed in Russia since Boris Yeltsin.
Alright, point here for sure. It references Bonaparte's Russian campaign of 1812, which was the largest land campaign ever at the time and still stands as one of the largest and most devastating conflicts ever. It also represents probably Napoleon's greatest military failure, whose aftermath essentially caused not just his empire, but his whole life to come crashing down around him. So any mention of it kind of becomes an automatic point in the rap battle, but then adding on a "you're ugly" insult comparing him to Boris Yeltsin, who did a pretty poor job as Russia's post-USSR president, leading to a crippled Russian economy that still has lasting ripple effects to this day, and it's a point, no doubt about it.
You can keep your french fries. I got tater tots, you know?
Huh. Couple things here. Of course, Napoleon Dynamite loves his tater tots. They feature in at least a few notable scenes in the movie. French fries may or may not have originated in France, but that's too pedantic to care about. But gnome? Really awkward short person insult here. I'm tempted to do a negative. I'll keep it neutral, but I just don't particularly think it's a great diss. And tonally, the word kind of sounds bad in the line also. And whatever this face is that Nice Peter's making, I don't love that either. It's uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable.
Why don't you crawl back in your little shell? Escargot the heck hole!
Okay, nah. I've been letting some of these puns slide, but escargot the heckome is too egregious. Escargot, of course, famous French dish made of essentially baked snails. Sounds gross, but honestly, I think it's quite delicious. Anyway, just an awful pun. Not a good diss. Terrible way to end the verse. Minus a point.
How dare you address moi, you adolescent whore!
Moi means me in French, which is an explanation for that one guy out there who has just zero linguistic capabilities whatsoever. Adolescent worm is a pretty whack diss. I know they were just trying to get a rhyme with the perm of the next line, so we're calling this a filler line and a neutral point, but just barely. They reached for it with that one.
I am French! You're a buck-toothed nerd with the power!
I don't know, this is a weak diss. Could have used the perm in a harder insult for sure, so again, neutral.
I spit at you hard as the teeth of the llama!
Frankly, I feel like this should have been Bonaparte's opening. Spitting aggressively at someone's feet is a way French people may rudely dismiss someone. I would say a stereotypical way, except it happened to me personally in France on 3 different occasions from 3 different random strangers, so it is on some level a very real thing in that country. But anyway, yeah, would have made a more dramatic entrance. Here, as like the 3rd bar, it feels a bit awkward, and the Tina the Llama mention is just a movie reference and not an actual diss, so neutral again.
Smacking your face till your lips swell up like the thunder.
These lines are really just giving me nothing to work with. As far as I know, Napoleon wasn't specifically a famous slapper, and the La Fonda mention is again just another movie reference, and I think maybe possibly racist in this context, so yeah. I guess still neutral? Let's do a negative here. I don't like this line. This is just all disappointing so far.
Doodle up some friends, you gangly freak show.
Is this worth a point? Probably not, but maybe I'm feeling charitable since there's at least a real diss with a relevant reference here. In the movie, Napoleon Dynamite is a bit of a social outcast and he spends a lot of the time in his own world drawing sketches in his notebook. Gangly Freak Show is still a pretty weak burn, but at least it's like middle school vocabulary, so it's something I guess.
Before I toss you over the mountain like the dreams of Uncle Rico.
Again, I feel like a broken record, but this is just a reference to the movie. Since Napoleon wasn't like a famous shot putter or something that would involve throwing things, it's just not really applicable. Neutral again, I guess.
This bastard's about to see how bad the battle can be.
How bad the battle can be? What? What does that even mean? Yeah, no, I'm sick of these bad bars. That's a negative point.
After this, your buddy Pedro will be voting for me.
Okay, fine. We'll give a point here. Even if it's kind of just another movie reference, the wordplay at least actually sounds good. It's a decent verse closer, and it's like the Napoleon Dynamite reference, so I guess we'll take it.
You freaking exile yourself in your little island and hide.
Ha, that's kind of funny. So Napoleon Bonaparte was famously exiled to islands twice. The first time to Corsica, once he was defeated the first time during the aforementioned Russian campaign, and the second to the tiny Atlantic island of St. Helena after his defeat at Waterloo. It's a great dismissal of Bonaparte's character by Dynamite, while also taking a subtle jab at Bonaparte's historical failures. Definitely worth a point.
Cause this is a rap roller coaster. You're not even tall enough to ride.
Are the short jokes getting a little old? Yes. But was this one delivered well? Also yes. So we have to give a point.
I don't even care how many like stupid Prussians you killed.
Prussia, now modern Germany, Austria, Poland, kind of. Middle Europe nations have a confusing history, but anyway, Prussia was one of the big empires opposed to the French during the Napoleonic era, and Bonaparte's armies pretty thoroughly dominated them in most battles. So even if Dynamite doesn't care, I mean, damn, Bonaparte did kill a lot of Prussians. I kinda care, to be honest. I guess neutral line. I can't quite get behind Dynamite, but I do respect the apathy.
Cause to me, you're just the emperor of the lollipop guild.
Bleh, bad. One too many short jokes, and to end the verse on a pretty lame one, it kills the vibe harder than Bonaparte killed those Prussians. The Lollipop Guild is a reference to the Wizard of Oz Munchkin clan, business, cult. They're small, and that's the only relation it has to either Dynamite or Bonaparte. Yeah, I'm taking a point off. It's mid at best, and I hate this face again Peter is making. So if you're like me, I'm sure you've always wondered what the heck Napoleon was saying in French here. Well, according to Google Translate, it's sacre bleu, which is a kind of old school French idiom. It doesn't translate directly, but it's kind of like heavens to Betsy. And then after that, he says, you have a head for blowing up sewer plates. What the fuck? So I dug deeper, and it was hard to find info, especially not related directly to its use in ERB, but I guess it's just basically a silly French insult. More or less, he said, my god, you're so ugly your face explodes the plumbing. I don't get it, but hey, sometimes language is quirky, and I saw a Reddit thread where a guy said this line made him learn French, so it brought some good into the world, I guess. Due to lack of concrete info about the phrase origin, I have my skeptic goggles on that this is 100% a real French idiom, but send me some proof if you've got it because I love etymology. Anyway, I'm not in love with the line since they don't even do any sort of visual gag to give an idea of what Bonaparte's saying, so it's a total miss if you don't know French. At the same time, I'm impressed they did use French for a full line in this way. It's fitting for the character, and I'll give a point more for the technicals than anything else.
I'm going to shove your moon boots right up your poop chute.
Huh. Lloyd's disses this whole battle. I don't know, man. So many really forced uses of wordplay. The moon boots are the big ski boots Napoleon Dynamite's wearing in the movie. I guess maybe poop shoot connects with the previous explode the sewer French line, but nah, it just didn't come together. I'm taking a point off.
I'll whip you so bad they'll make a virgin meringue!
Oh boy, that's dumb, but I'll take it. At least they had a visual for this one. For the non-bakers out there, meringue is a dessert that requires whipped egg whites. It's actually really easy to make if you have an electric beater, and manually it just takes too much effort. But I recommend making it at home. Cheap and easy as long as eggs aren't $1 bazillion this week, and really delicious. Anyway, off track, but I don't know. Virgin meringue is just kind of funny, I guess.
You're the only type of dynamite that's never going to bang!
Oh, thank God. Finally a debatably great line. Is it a three-pointer though? Well, it connects to the last line, has good enough wordplay. Did I laugh? Yes. Great way to finish the verse? Yeah, it's kind of a mic drop moment, so we'll take it. 3 points here. I felt like I enjoyed Nice Peter's Napoleon Dynamite performance more than Epic Lloyd's Bonaparte, but when it comes to the actual disses, Lloyd's were just a little stronger. Looking at how I did my scores, there's an alternate world where I gave Dynamite a few more neutrals and Bonaparte doesn't get that 3 at the end, but really, best we probably end up with is a tie, so I'm pretty satisfied with giving Lloyd the overall win. Honestly, kind of a disappointing battle overall though. I was pretty bored throughout the whole thing. I kept forgetting to finish writing this script because honestly, I would get through a few bars and then just get disinterested. No joke, I finished scoring the next 2 episodes and writing those scripts before I actually went back and finished this one. If I were tallying up neutrals as well, that category would score higher than the 2 actual rapper scores combined. The battle really is the ultimate of ultimate mid-season slumps, suffering from a lot of shallow raps without substance, surface level references without digging deeper, and just overall being pretty mediocre and forgettable. All in all, I'm unimpressed, and I'm a bit bummed that we've had back-to-back just 2 character Nice Peter versus Epic Lloyd matchups, no guests, no gimmicks, and frankly, they've both kinda sucked. At least the theming here is better than Easter Bunny Con, not that the bar is anything to clear, and it's the first time we see that kinda silly 2 people same names thing that Epic Lloyd apparently loves, but at least it's something connecting them. I wasn't sold on it. But speaking of being sold, don't touch that dial. Next episode, we're giving you a special TV offer for just 3 easy payments of liking, subscribing, and commenting. We're offering you access to the official scoring of the rap battle of a lifetime. Stay tuned. And speaking of selling things, I do finally have an official Patreon up and running, so go check that out. Link down in the description. Please support the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.